I never thought I'd witness a grown woman in a pink bathrobe, off-brand Crocs, and a ski mask tiptoeing through a cornfield at 2 in the morning, clutching a jug labeled Total Vegetation Killer in bold red letters. But I did. And yes, I got it all on camera. That was the exact moment I realized my neighbor, Clarissa, wasn't just quirky. She was on the warpath. And unfortunately for her, she picked the wrong battlefield. It all began at the 4th of July cookout our neighborhood throws every year. My family and I had put in weeks of prep grilling equipment polished, flags and banners strung up, coolers stacked with drinks, and, of course, our prized sweet corn. We'd harvested it fresh that morning from the field just past the hedgerow right on the edge of our property line. People couldn't stop talking about it. Best corn I've had in my life, one neighbor said, butter dribbling down his chin. That's when Clarissa, with a plastic cup of wine and her son wearing a bucket had the size of a beach umbrella, slithered over and said, "You really shouldn't be growing corn so close to the neighborhood. It attracts pests and lowers property values." I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. She gave me this tight-lipped smile and wandered off like she'd just dropped a bomb and wanted to watch the smoke. I chalked it up to more of her HOA drama queen antics and got back to flipping burgers. But that was just her opening salvo. Clarissa had always been extra. If a leaf touched her lawn, she'd call the HOA. If a car parked near her driveway, even if it belonged to her sister, she'd threaten to have it towed. She once measured a neighbor's Halloween inflatables with a yardstick to make sure they didn't go over the 18-inch height limit. But screwing with my corn? That crossed a line she didn't even know existed. About a week after the cookout, I noticed the outer edge of the field looking off. Not just dry-dying. Sickly. Stalks that should have been green were brown and splotchy. I checked irrigation, soil moisture, even called my buddy Nate, who used to serve with me in the Army and now teaches botany at the local community college. He came out, poked around, and said, "This looks like chemical exposure. Deliberate." That's when my gut told me it was Clarissa. I didn't want to believe it at first. But then I saw the boot prints. Fresh, muddy, size 7 just like hers. They led from the road straight into the rows. After years in military intelligence, I've learned to trust patterns. This wasn't random. So I got to work. I installed a trail cam hidden in a birdhouse at the edge of the field. Night vision, wide range, small lens. My wife, Anna, thought I was being paranoid. I told her, if I'm wrong, we'll catch a raccoon. If I'm right, we'll catch a felon. 3 nights later, bingo. There she was on camera. Pink robe, ski mask, Crocs, a jug of Weedkiller in one hand. Creeping through my corn like some discount cartoon villain, spraying the base of each stalk, then darting behind rows anytime headlights passed. I had to watch the footage twice just to believe it. I sent the clip to Sheriff Roland, a friend from the service who now ran our county law enforcement. He called me 5 minutes later. "Bring that footage in," he said. "We might have ourselves a case of agricultural assault." The next morning, I showed up at the station with a thumb drive and a bad mood. Roland and I watched it together in his office. He leaned back, whistled low, and said, "That's about as caught red-handed as it gets. Who does she think she is, the Roundup Reaper?" I almost laughed. Almost. But then I remembered the grant. This wasn't just any corn. I'd partnered with the university on a federally funded pilot project testing drought-resistant hybrids meant for struggling regions. I was one of 3 test plots in the entire county. Clarissa hadn't just trespassed damaged research crops. That upped the stakes significantly. Roland and I agreed to confront her before filing charges. That afternoon, we knocked on her door. She answered in yoga pants and an oversized sweater, sipping cucumber spa water that smelled suspiciously like Franzia. Roland got right to it. "Been out by Mr. Langford's cornfield recently?" Her eyes went wide. "The cornfield?" She blinked, all innocence. "Oh no, I've been busy with my herb garden." Roland didn't miss a beat. "What kind of herbs need industrial-grade Weedkiller?" She flinched. "It's my own organic blend. Essential oils. For aura balancing." I stared. "Crop aura? What does that even mean?" Roland waited until we got back to the cruiser to laugh. "We're going to need more than pseudoscience to make this stick in court." I knew he was right. I needed more than footage. I needed proof of intent. A pattern. And if I was lucky, a motive. I pulled my old field logs from the shed maps, notes, even leftover cameras from my Army days. If Clarissa wanted a turf war, fine. I'd play chess while she played checkers. The next day, Roland showed up at her door with a copy of the footage on his tablet. She answered in the same Crocs. Her face froze when the video started playing her, clear as daylight, spraying toxic chemicals onto government-funded corn. "That's not me," she said, dead serious. I almost choked. "Ma'am," Roland replied, "that's your robe, your yard in the background, your shoes, and frankly, your build." Through a ski mask. Not a very good one. She tried playing the victim, claimed I was harassing her, and even filed a complaint with the HO accusing me of unauthorized surveillance on my own land. The HOA president, Leo, a spineless wonder with the charisma of a damp sponge, called me and said I should de-escalate. Said Clarissa was very sorry for any perceived wrongdoing. Perceived? I asked. How much budget does she control? Leo got quiet real fast. But that's when I remembered something Clarissa didn't know. The corn wasn't just mine. It was tied to a federal grant. I had the contracts, soil data, crop maps. Every stalk she killed was a data point evidence of tampering. I called Dr. Yamada, the head of the university's research department. She showed up the next morning with a clipboard, field kit, and 2 grad students in tow. After testing the soil, measuring residue, and surveying the damage, she looked at me and said this was deliberate. Whoever did this had just enough knowledge to be dangerous. I pointed toward Clarissa's yard. "I hope she has a good lawyer," Yamada muttered. Then the neighbors started talking. One said her daughter's pumpkin patch had shriveled overnight. Another's tomato vines turned black. They'd seen Clarissa nearby each time, always with that jug. I mapped out the complaints on a satellite image and layered them with GPS data. A red X over each failed garden. The pattern was surgical and it always led back to Clarissa. Then came a break. A new trail cam angle caught Clarissa receiving something from a Manstockie hoodie, loading her trunk. The container? Same shape as the jug. The license plate? Mostly visible. Roland ran it. It belonged to a landscaping supplier that didn't usually sell to civilians. Clarissa had bought high-concentration herbicide, lying that it was for bamboo treatment. There wasn't a single stalk of bamboo within a mile of her house. "This is felony level," Roland said. "She's not just a nosy neighbor. She's a saboteur." Clarissa, of course, doubled down. Flyers accusing me of spying appeared on mailboxes. "This isn't over," one read, scrawled in red Sharpie. But then I got an anonymous letter. No return address. Just one sentence: check the HOA meeting notes from March rezoning agenda. I logged in and dug through digital cobwebs. And there it was. Clarissa had proposed a rezoning plan for aesthetic improvement and community recreation, including a tennis court, on land that bordered my field. My land. The corn wasn't the problem. It was the obstacle. Now it was clear. This wasn't just about property values. She wanted my field gone to clear a path for her brother's tennis court project. Roland called. "You ready to press charges?" I looked at my scorched field, then toward Clarissa's house. "Let's do it." Yamada returned with more scientists. They confirmed the scope of the damage and collected irrefutable evidence. Meanwhile, Roland filed contamination reports and opened a case file with the county DA. Then something unexpected happened. A young man named Miles showed up at my door. He used to intern for Leo. He handed me a folder. "I didn't sign up for this," he said. Inside were off-the-record HOA notes. Phrases like chemical mitigation and removing obstructions to beautification. One proposal, from a company called Elite Green Quartz. Clarissa's brother's business included site plans overlapping my land. Roland read it all, eyes hard. "We've got conspiracy. Probable cause. Search warrants next." Patrol cars rolled up the following morning. Clarissa was red-faced and screaming about misogyny. Leo was MIA. Turned himself in 2 days later when he found out his accounts had been frozen. The trial was packed. Clarissa looked like someone who ironed her emotions flat. Glenn, sweating, crumpled, looked like a man already halfway defeated. The video played first. The gallery stifled laughter. The judge actually sipped from his mug to hide a grin. Then came the documents, texts, receipts, testimony from neighbors. Dr. Yamada's scientific breakdown destroyed any accidental claims. And finally, Miles testified, reading aloud Clarissa's chilling joke: "Once the cornfield's dead, it'll all fall into place." It took the jury less than 2 hours. Guilty. On all counts. Clarissa was sentenced to probation, restitution to me and the university, and poetically court-mandated landscaping community service. Leo took a plea deal in exchange for full cooperation. A week later, I saw her, neon vest, hunched in the dirt behind the rec center, pulling weeds. She spotted me, froze, then turned away. Didn't say a word. She didn't have to. The HOA was overhauled. New president, new rules. Fewer bylaws, more community. Yamada's grant was renewed. We doubled the plot, added a greenhouse. Some of the funding came from a settlement the HOA had to pay for enabling Clarissa. At the Fall Harvest Festival, I brought corn and stories. People smiled again. Waved. Trusted each other. Clarissa sat at a booth, handing out flyers for sustainable gardening. Her face blank. Her eyes averted. I didn't say anything. But before the season ended, I did build one final addition to my field. A scarecrow. Pink bathrobe. Cheap Crocs. Little jug taped to one hand. The other held a sign. I weed where I shouldn't. Justice doesn't always look like a gavel. Sometimes it's a scarecrow in a robe, and a field that grows back stronger than ever.